Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a fantastic week. This week, I was given the one opportunity to catch up with Nikki, talk about video. Of course, we're both videographers. What else are we going to talk about? But also video marketing, how it can help you, how it can continue to help you grow in this exciting economic opportunity that we have at the moment. So thank you so much for coming back and watching me once again. And I'll see you in just a moment.
So hi, my name's Nikki. My business is NDH Productions, and I work with businesses to create video content for social media, websites, any kind of video projects that are involved in marketing strategy.
Hey, Nikki. Thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And, it's an interesting conversation because, as we were talking a little bit before the show, I think the video sphere, the video content creation world is in a very interesting place at the moment. And, as we were discussing, I think initially, I'm going to ask you about your story a little bit later on, but I think for me, what would you say initially, just to add some really impactful value for people who are just joining the episode? Why do people need to look at video right now? Because, the economy's in an interesting position. I think video is the solution. I'm sure you agree with me, or part of the solution, should I say. But why is that? Why do you think that is?
Well, video really started getting popular during COVID, and people were putting a lot of effort into that, and they sort of realized how powerful video can be. And even after that, we've become more of a digital, well, businesses have become a lot more digital, and creating video content and seeing how well that can do to just have a presence online. And especially when you're consistent with it, you can just keep in the minds of your audience. And video is probably the most engaging way to create content that can emote emotion. It can show your audience like who you are, and you can just connect with them a lot more of a deeper level than different forms of media, I think.
I think it's one of those things where we talked about it a lot, during the pandemic, which was like, how can we still have those touch points from a, face and a talking and a personality point of view, but obviously we can't go and meet people, right? In that context, it was because of COVID. In this context, it might just be easier to do a Zoom or easier to do some form of content. But also what we've been teaching clients and what I talk about a lot is knowing how to scale what you're doing in the respect to, I can have a conversation with you for an hour. Great, cool. We're going to build a relationship. We're going to build a better trust relationship in regards to potentially us working together. But also because we're capturing it as content, we can be in the position where I can now distribute that content out to my wider audience and potentially your wider audience to say, hey, this is why you need to care about video. Hey, this is why video is really unique and really powerful. And actually, I would argue this current economic situation is a great opportunity more than it is actually a hindrance, or like, oh, we're a bit scared, or etc., which I completely understand and is completely okay. But actually, I think the people who are going to win, I don't know whether you would agree, but the people who are going to win are the ones who are going to see this opportunity to be, I'm not going to say like land grabby in regards to market share, but you know what I mean? It's like this kind of like this perfect golden opportunity to be like, actually, we could really push our marketing now. Because I don't know how you found it, and I'll hand over to you in a second, but for me, there's kind of like two camps in business right now, which is like people who are like really in like what I would call hermit mode, which is like completely understandable and completely fine, which is like, right, we're going to pull everything. We're just going to chill for a bit. We're going to like readjust. We're going to see where the market is. We're going to see what we do. And then there's people like us that are like, right, we're pushing forward. Let's double or triple what we're doing. Like, we've gone from posting daily to now posting 2 to 3 times a day where we can, right? So my volume of content is increasing. Now, hopefully, again, this is where the subjective value part comes in. I haven't sacrificed value, right, in doing so, just because of how I've changed the top end strategy so that I have more editing time. But what would you, do you see this opportunity, or like, how are your clients finding it?
Absolutely. It's really interesting how video content has changed, because especially at the moment, I think YouTube is taking back the top spot for video content, and this creating quality content has become really popular. But also, as social media, different platforms have got a reel system in there, you can create content that doesn't have to be so different for each platform anymore. So in terms of efficiency, and what I've realized is that you can create spend a day creating several pieces of content, or you can create, it really depends on how it works, obviously, but you can create that really high quality content and then create social media clips that actually can go on Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and possibly Facebook Reels as well. And you don't have to stress too much. And then there's not much time sacrificed in creating those bits of content, but it acts as drawing traffic into the bigger piece of content that you've got. So it's so efficient, and you can create content that you could have a month's worth of content for, you know, just 4 clips from one video. You could post that over a month. So I'm trying to educate my clients about the possibilities of doing that, but also what I offer as part of my services, which I've done since the start, is remote editing. So I help my clients to film content from home, and I edit them and then we distribute it. So for example, I create a podcast, and I edit a podcast for my client. That's the long piece of content that's really valuable. And then we've got little shorter clips that's in a very sort of minimalistic, authentic way. Really depends on sort of the vibe or the type of video we're going for. But we can post that on loads of different platforms, but also on sort of authenticity. People like videos that are quite stripped back, not too much. They don't have to be completely flashy either. There's something psychologically about that rawness with filming just with your phone. Obviously, sort of nice tricks to make sure things look good, but there's something in that means that businesses can create lots of video content without too much flashy stuff. But of course, it has to suit the real sort of type of content. So I try to sort of educate them on what their strategy could look like in that way.
I think it's a really interesting conversation, because I think so many people talk to me because they see, you know, and I'm sure you have it the same in respect to, like, you've got all the gear and it looks great and it sounds great and wonderful, and I'm like, yes, but that's what you would expect because it's what I sell, right? That's why arguably we have to go the extra mile to make sure we do stuff properly, what I'll put in inverted quotes, but properly, right? That's why we post edit it. That's why we use professional cameras. That's why it sounds and looks good, right? Because it's what we sell. If you sell insurance or you sell etc., then you can, I don't want to use the term get away with it being worse, but it's not going to be a factor that people are going to be concerned about. Yes, you have the shiny, oh, this looks professional and they've really invested in this and so on. Great. But at the end of the day, what you're saying is what matters, and hopefully the value, and again, this is why it's always very perceivable, the perceived value in the content is actually more important in every case, no matter how you add fluff on it, right? Because let's be honest, every camera and all the lighting and all the microphone, excluding a microphone, it's all fluff, right? It all makes it look and sound better, right? And the only reason why audio is more important and isn't arguably in the fluff category is because you have to be able to hear what the person is saying to actually understand that if the content's good.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to avoid. I mean, there's never anything bad with putting that video production value on, having a nice camera and lights and all that things. It's always a good thing, especially reflecting on what's happening at the moment and what the real value in video content is for businesses to be doing. Then it's not completely necessary, but it is always not a bad thing to do. But audio, yeah, is definitely incredibly important. You can't, I remember it sort of being discussed that audio is more important than video, because obviously podcasts wouldn't be so popular. So you have to be able to hear. So, but luckily, we're all we've got access to great phones that have good quality.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important point, right? I think phones, let's remember what phones are designed to do, right? They're not designed to create video content, they're designed to have phone calls. By proxy, they need to have a good microphone to do so, right? Therefore, they're actually really good content creation tools as well, especially with the level of quality that you can get from a phone, right? And that's also, I think, a really strong equalizer for the market, right? Because we talked about promotional videos before the show. But I mean, why? Because in 2012, right, from my experience at least, promotional videos were we're going to do a promotional video, it's going to print us money, all is good, goes on the website, fantastic, thank you very much, invested $2,000, $3,000, whatever it may be, and we've got 10 back. Fan-flippin-tastic. That's great. But why is that not happening now?
Yeah, it's not relevant now. It's funny how it's still around. People still tend to think they want a promotional video, but it doesn't serve video strategy anymore. You have to provide consistent content in different ways, provide the long, valuable piece of content and the short pieces of content as sort of filler. And there's a whole new, it's just changed so much, you know, it's got so much more popular. Video is a very popular, it's probably, I don't know how to put this, but you know, our social media platforms have become so video heavy, video first. As soon as you open it, you might just be shown a video. And I remember that started happening only a few years ago. So it just doesn't reflect the strategy. And yeah, you can't just create one video. It's always great to have a promotional video sitting on the website, but for a strategy, for goals, it's not going to achieve that.
Well, don't get me wrong, like they're great to have, and they're really great when you're doing a specific themed thing, Christmas, Easter, so on, right? Things like that. You've got a specific promotion, you've got a specific deal that you want to promote. Fantastic. Let's do a video themed around that. That's really shiny, really polished, really wonderful. Got all the bells and whistles. Fantastic. There's really easy ways to track the key performance indicators on that, or making sure that it's going to get the return on investment, right? So, or the money you're putting in, for those who, may not know. But I think for me, the power where video is now is actually, as we kind of alluded to with short form, right? The rise of short form content and having that visibility on social media, because the reason, and I know I feel like a broken record at this point because I've been talking about it for ages, but it's about just having ridiculous amounts of visibility and being able to scale your time, right? And the reason why I keep mentioning it is I don't think people quite realize how much time you can scale, right? Because it's a compounding effect, right? Now, this is the first time I'm saying it on the record, so hooray. I've changed my strategy in respect to how I operate the business, right? To be very content-led now. Because I'm in a position where actually the clients we're looking to achieve and the people we're looking to talk to, they aren't, in the most respectful way, they're unlikely to be inside the networking rooms I'm going to be able to get into easily, right? Now, that's not to say that networking is useless, because it's definitely not. Networking is need to be used as another referral tool, not necessarily I'm going to get work directly from the room, and that's a separate conversation entirely that I'm sure we can get into. But the reason why I'm prioritizing content nowadays is because the attention of these bigger businesses or these people who make decisions are on LinkedIn, are on Instagram, are on TikTok, are on Twitter, right? So actually, if I put my content out there, all it takes is them to see 1, 2, 3 pieces of my content, and then suddenly they're like, okay, who's this Colton guy, right? The amount of people who talk to me and go, can you get off my feed? Especially on Facebook, which I find hilarious. I go to local events, and local businesses who I haven't spoken to in like a year go to me, Colton, can you get off my Facebook feed, please? And I'm like, what? No, that's the point. You get why I'm doing it. You understand why I'm doing it. That's the goal of why I'm doing it. But that's why I think there's going to be an interesting shift for people when they start really leveraging and understanding the level of visibility you can have when you start scaling your content and your time, right? Because, as I say, we can invest this hour now to create this piece of content, but if I really wanted to leverage it, it's a month's worth of, as you said, it's a month or more worth of content if I wanted to. We choose not to do that, and that's only because I've got so much content and I want to have the diversity of the content I produce, not because there's any reason or any other reason outside of that. But I mean, how did you kind of get into this kind of video world? Was it always something you were like, yeah, want to create this, want to create films, want to help people tell stories? Or was it something that, because sometimes people fall into it, right? But I mean, I'll hand back to you, but how did you get into it?
I kind of fell into it. I've always been a very creative person. I was a very creative child. But I've been doing it for quite a long time. Like, I initially started out towards the end of education actually wanting to go into music and becoming a singer. But I just fell into media. I changed my course and I absolutely loved it. So that was back in 2014 college. And that's where I really started to learn how to use a camera, how to edit videos. And I actually started picking up clients back then. Because of my sort of hobbies outside of that, I just met people that were like, oh, I've seen you do this. Can you, or you sung at my event. Do do you know how to edit? And I was kind of like, yes, I do. Like, and I started working with a couple of clients, so it's quite interesting. So I followed that onto university doing TV and film productions. So it's a bit more different. But as I left, I became a freelance editor and freelance videographer for different companies, and really then started to actually create content for businesses and learning a bit more that it's more marketing based. So I started my business then started out editing YouTube videos, and it's sort of grown from there. And I really enjoy it. I think it's a market that's also really, really growing, and I think it's really interesting. And yeah, I love the branding side. I love the creative control and being able to come up with strategies and video content and being able to create it as well. That's what I love.
I think it's a really important point, because there's kind of been, as we alluded to with the promotional videos, there's kind of been a shift in the last, I would say, 10 years from let's create something shiny that sits on the website that's unique because not many people are doing it, to now let's actually invest quite heavily in video marketing as a concept and what video marketing even is, right? So for me, I see it very differently. There's video production, which is the art of creating the movie or the art of creating the content. And then there's video marketing, which is the strategic thought process on how to create video in a strategic manner that has a return on investment for the business that's investing in it, right? They are separate skill sets from my view. And you should actually, as a video production company or video marketing agency now, have both in your toolkit to be able to serve your clients best. And if you don't, I would say, maybe you're just in the production arm. That's fine. There'll always be a place for production, but perhaps consider how good phones are getting and the fact that you might be replaced by a phone if that's all you can offer. Unfortunately,
it's happening already.
And again, I don't think that's we saw this in the copywriting world with the AI shift from Chat AI's point of view. There was a lot of copywriters who were like, guys, we might be out of a job here. Now, granted, we're not there yet, okay? We're very far from that right now. Give it 10 years, okay, might be a different conversation. But I think the key there is understanding that a computer is never going to be able to humanize how humans make purchasing decisions. Because at the end of the day, what is marketing? Marketing is creating opportunities for you to put your brand in a place where someone is going to subconsciously or consciously make a purchase decision down the line when they need what you offer. That's in crux what marketing is, right? And the reason I think why short form is so dominant right now is because it fills people's attention, right? Which is what everyone has wanted since the day dot when it comes to like attention marketing. Because if you have someone's attention, your brand is in the front of mind. But for those who, because we talked a little bit about before the show about brand building and the concept of like using video to brand build. What does that mean? For those who don't know, when we say that, what do we mean? And why is it valuable to a business?
I think there's so many ways to unpack that. I think that there's so much to do with what's going on behind the camera to actually what's happening in the video production side of it that contributes towards building a brand. I think from the actual concept and what you're filming to the quality of how well you're filming it to how it's edited to express your brand. So depending on who you put in front of the camera, whether it's yourself or actors, like who are they and do they sort of reflect your brand, or are you doing the type of videos that appeal to your audience? Is it bright and colourful? What's your set kind of like? There's so much going on, which thankfully video production experts can understand those concepts. And being videographers, we have so many different areas. We film it, we edit it, we do the sound, we choose the music, we a bit more in set design and things like that, and delivery.
We'll even do backflips if you pay us well enough.
Yeah. So there's so many elements that we understand reflect someone's brand, and I think that's the main part of it, and strategy really feeds into that as well.
Yeah, I think for me, as I say, it's firstly understanding what your brand values are, number one, as you mentioned. Number two, it's about who you're going to have as the face of the brand, right? 95% of people realize quite quickly that they're going to talk to me at some point during the sales process, hence why I'm the face of the brand. That's why. Simple as that, right? Because I'm trying to build a relationship with me before I have to talk to you. That's why content's powerful. Because if I produce content that you can consume and you find value in consuming, you're more likely to make a purchasing decision, but I don't necessarily have to talk to you right now during this piece of content because I'm talking to you right now. Yeah. But when it comes to a sales conversation, I can go into a lot more depth and a lot more detail around your specific needs. When we do content, we have to deliberately generalize it because we're talking to an audience instead of a person necessarily. Not to say that if you speak to a person, that it isn't going to be valuable to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's so much to consider with, taking a step back from my point, the first part that you mentioned is really understanding the brand in the first place and their goals and who their audience is. That's how you even decide what content that you're going to make. And then that dictates, how you're supposed to grab the attention of that audience. So that comes into the styles and the types of videos that you're going to create to attract them. But at the heart of it, you do have to, as a video content creator or strategist, completely understand who the business is and what they're trying to sell, but also how they want to come across as well.
Yeah, what tone, how, etc. But I think, I'm going to ask you the golden question now, right? We'll see how the answer comes out. But what's working right now? Right, because I think we can sit here in a very privileged perspective because we both have lots of content, we both know what we're doing, we both have the ability to create content basically for free that's high quality because we own the kit, we have the skill set, so on, so on, so on. We're going to trade time more than trading money. But what's working because businesses that are really looking to potentially invest in video, they want to know what's working, right? They want to know, and I know there's going to be a point that's like, well, it kind of depends on how long's a piece of string, kind of depends on where you are, etc. And of course there is that, right? But like as a rule of thumb, what are you seeing work right now?
I can't really answer what type of video is working. I think it's very easy to just go online, see what your competitors are doing, and if that's working for them, that works for them, and then that's probably the content that you can try and make. So that's one answer. But I think in general, I think I kind of wanted to compare it to having multiple sets of income. So you've got probably your main thing, but you have lots of different ways that you're earning an income. And I think that should be reflected in your marketing strategy or your online strategy, where video is a piece of the puzzle and you have to have a good presence kind of everywhere. So your good website and the content that you produce for that, to making social media posts, having a social media strategy that means that you're doing all sorts of different things to grab your audience's attention. So it's not just creating video, or it's not just posting static images, or it's not just writing a blog. I think you need to be doing a lot of different things, and there are different ways that other creative businesses digital businesses can help with that. But I think you have to be very diverse in what you're actually doing online, and video is a part of that. But in order to then go into the video side, I think looking at what your competitors are doing and seeing what works for them, and then finding the right people that can help you make that.
I think for me, it's about, to an extent, looking at what your competitors are doing, but also thinking about from your own perspective, where's the opportunities here, right? Let's use an example where my competitor is only posting images and then some copy. Fantastic, great. I'm sure it works for them. That's fantastic, right? Not pointing at anyone specifically, but let's just use it as an example. How can I articulate something that's similar in regard, because look, let's be honest, we're all going to promote video in the same way, because the reasons why I use video, there's about 6 of them, and we just spin it a different way every time. It's about it, really, right? Now, how am I going to spin it in difference, or how can I gain more attention, e.g., but and I wrote a comment this morning, basically the logic I follow is the more effort you put into producing the content, e.g., whether that's volume or quality, the more likely it is going to do well, right? Because people can tell, right? If it's a video that's 90 seconds long, but it's got 500 shots in it, probably taking you more time than a clip that's 25 seconds that's clearly taken from a call or a podcast or you just doing it directly to camera, for example, right? Now, there isn't necessarily a kind of like, because, I'm sure you've seen it, where that 25-second clip gets a lot more traction than the other, the piece of artwork, so to speak, right? But I think if you're going to, and what I guess we're talking about here is, and what kind of you're alluding to as well, is not putting all your eggs in one basket. So I think you can, if you, like, for example, for me, video is a powerhouse in respect to how I articulate, and that's why we majority post video. Also happens to be what I sell, which helps. But it's more around, actually, it's my preferred way of articulating what I do. It's actually got nothing to do with the fact that I sell it. It's just because it's better for me to articulate it that way. But if you're a skilled writer, just write. Just create content through that. If you're good at talking, do a podcast. Maybe you don't feel confident yet, or you don't have the ability, or you don't have the kit to do a video podcast. Great. Don't jump to that leap yet. Start with an audio podcast and then build it from there. But if you can do videos and you can show your behind the scenes and you can give tips and tricks and you can share the knowledge that you have, do. And I mean, what's your opinion on sharing the best stuff for free? Because a lot of people say to me, well, you can't, you just give. How do you get back? Like, what, like, surely this would be something that you would sell.
I think it's very good to provide value for free. I think that if you felt like if someone feels like you've helped them, they'll remember you for what you've done or what you've said. I think it's a great strategy to do that in any sort of form. If it is going to be through video or a podcast or some sort of written content, I think providing value all the time is incredibly important, because if you're kind of guarded on that, people won't really know what they're going to be getting for the money, and if that doesn't show any impact online, if you provide that value and that doesn't have any impact on anyone, then people aren't going to really see why to purchase from you.
Because, for me, I think it's really easy for us to sit here and, like, I can change my Instagram bio to anything I like, and then suddenly I'm that thing, right? But the thing I've been saying to clients is your content is the validation on whether you are that thing, right? So if I say I'm a professional footballer, my page better be full with me playing football really, really well, right? I'm not. Don't ask me to play football, by the way. But the point I'm making is it's the validation, because it's very easy, as I say, it's very easy for someone to I can make an Instagram tomorrow and claim it's anything, but until I post content to it, until that content does the job it needs to do, then no one's going to believe me, right? So that one of the reasons why I say, like, I post so much on social and we're so dominant on social is because, number one, it gives me a huge amount of confidence when I'm in a sales conversation, because I can't be called a hypocrite, right? Because if I'm trying to sell the service of we create social media content, we create good video content, etc., if I don't have all of the above, I'm a hypocrite, right? Because I can't fully believe in it then. Because if I fully believed in it, surely I'd be doing it for my business, right? But and this is sometimes where I think people can semi-get disjointed, and that's why I mentioned the effort thing. Like, if people in the market as a whole, can see you're putting a lot of effort as in regards to output, regards to quality, regards to what you're doing, they're going to reward that, and that's going to be one of the reasons why they make the purchasing decision, because arguably, actually, through repetition as well, you become better at what you do. So by proxy, by doing that, if you didn't start off better than your competition, you will become better than your competition because you're outputting more, which in turn means you get more data, which in turn means you can learn more, which in turn means you get more feedback, which then in turn means you can grow better, right? And if what you're selling is a growth opportunity that hasn't, and you're not actually growing yourself, that's kind of counterintuitive, right? But that does open up an interesting question, which is, how do you balance it between what you do for you and then what you do with clients, right? Because we only have a certain amount of hours in the day.
Yeah, and I know that I'm not particularly confident in creating my own videos. I kind of thought that when I first started that I should be sat in front of a camera and I should be talking about video and all this stuff. But I think, because I wanted to make a point about the videos that you're making, that there has to be good quality. Like, you can't just create a video and you have to do all of the right things and be the right person to do it. So I want to give value in different ways. And I just post my client work on as the video, but I do it in a slightly different way. I want them to have their spotlight and have the video posted as them, and I kind of want to do a different version for what I do. But yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's a really important point, because not everyone should follow my strategic practice. Right? My strategic practice is done in a specific way because it's the best suit to me. It's best suited to me personally, right? And this is the thing about being authentic in your marketing. It's about creating an opportunity where you can be authentic, and then you can get more eyeballs on you being authentic and talking about what you do. It's got nothing to do with, oh, I need to do it Colton's way. No, Colton's way works for Colton, right?
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
same way,
I'm more,
go on.
yeah, I'm sort of like spotlighting the work that I do, because I do so much of it every day. I'd rather spotlight the actual work I've produced rather than create videos. Not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, you're right. It's just that's what works for me.
It's an investment of time, and it comes to like, do you want to be a personality on camera, right? One of the things that stands me apart is I can do both sides. I can sit in front of a camera and I can do the song and dance, do backflips, be the performance monkey, so to speak. But also, I can then go the other side and be an operator, right? In a span of 4 seconds, right? Which is a very unique but very valuable skill set when on set, because I can coach people on both sides. You won't need to coach on obviously behind the sides, but you know what I mean? Like, I can go, oh, we're going to do it this way, and I can speak to crews in the respect to like, oh, I'm looking for this as the director and etc. But then I can switch into talking to the client about how they're going to perform and how they're going to come most comfortably, and how we can do interviews so they feel comfortable, etc., etc. And I think that's like a unique perspective to what we do. But then in the same way, you'll have your own unique perspectives, like, because you're going to, and this is what I keep saying to people about, there is no such thing as, oh, I didn't win the client because I'm not good enough. No, you're just not the right fit, right? And this is what I keep saying about people having an abundance mindset. One of the reasons why I'm so fortunate is my mindset, because I look at the market and I go, right, okay, so if we didn't win a job, okay, clearly we weren't the right fit for that person. That's got nothing against me, nothing against them. It's just, actually, we weren't the right fit for them. My approach, how I come across, what I do, how we do it, how my pricing works, whatever it may, whatever the objection was, right? Whatever the reasoning was, or no reason, right? But how do you, I mean, I guess in a sales context, how do you, because so many people talk to me about like, how do you sell, right? Like, how do we come across selling well, and etc. I mean, there's the obvious ones like confidence and being able to know your stuff and create perceived value. But what advice would you give to people who are maybe looking in the video space, or they're in general maybe looking to sell stuff, that you've taken from your own career to say, actually, no, I can sell well, and these are some of the tricks of the trade that maybe people don't appreciate?
Yes. So I think being more conversational in your selling, I think is really important. I think not following a script, not worrying too much about how you're coming, how professional you're sounding. They are a human at the end of the day. And I think one of the reasons as well why companies like to work with individual businesses at the moment is because of that intimate relationship that you can build with your client. And
Yeah, sorry, don't I agree. I think it's one of those things though, where it's about, and I was listening to a TikTok yesterday that said, if you really want to be good at sales, stop selling. And it sounds counterintuitive, but what you need to do is you need to reframe what you're doing. You're helping the person. You're not selling them anything. You're solving a solution.
yes, exactly. And it's a lot about listening and asking questions and actually being curious about their business. And you're not asking questions that don't feel too like you're invading them, or wanting to know all these like numbers and stuff, but you're just genuinely curious because you're there to help them at the end of the day. And the best way you can do that is by really understanding the business and understanding why that person's passionate about it, so you can get passionate about it and provide that solution. So I think more of a conversational approach, be a good listener, and ask lots of questions to them.
But at the end of the day, though, I'd actually say sales is less important than marketing in some respects, because if you don't get your marketing terminology and strategy right, you're going to have the wrong people in front of you, which makes your sales job harder, right? If you do your marketing right, you're only going to have the right people who already really trust you and already kind of know what you do anyway. So the only conversations you're really going to be having sales-wise is, how specifically can I help you? because you know why. Because by proxy, if they come off the website, they come off social, etc., and or maybe they met you at a networking meeting but then consume content, they already know what you do. They already know you to an extent. And what they want to know is, can you fix this specific challenge or problem that this business has, right? With what you sell. That's the only caveat. And that's, but also I think, I was going to go a different way, that's why I paused. But the thing I would say is, and this is not easy in an economic contraction, but you need to be patient with the sales process. Because if you're not, it can be perceived as you being needy. And if you're then needy, you can then, it's like building any relationship, right? If you become needy and you don't give it the time it needs, then different feelings happen and it becomes more challenging. And then it's there's a difference between pushing for the sale when you know you can fix the problem that they have, and then being perceived as needy that you need the work. Now, if you need the work, that's a different conversation. That is a different solution, right? That's more around, let's create a really appealing high value offer, and then let's go to market with it. That's what I would suggest people do if they're in a position where they're like, I need to generate cash flow, right? Or I'm not going to be here in 3 months. That might be a genuine reality for a lot of people in the next 6 months. Fine, no problem. There's the solution. But what you don't do is, when you get an inbound inquiry in that sales call, you then try and push them for the sale if they're not ready, right? Because that's actually going to, in my experience, that will cost you the sale, potentially, and or cost the potential referral relationship that you would have. There's a difference between suggesting and saying, hey, I think you should do this, and if you were going to consider video, you should do it this way, and saying, hey, we should do video, it's going to cost this, etc. I mean, have you, in your own experience, had issues like that, like in respect to, like, for whatever reason, like, we've all made mistakes, right? Like, we've all done those, like, let's push for the sale kind of conversations. But if you have, how did you kind of rewire your brain or like work on it so it's like, no, actually I'm going to tackle it this way, but actually have the confidence and the belief in yourself that it will work out if you tackle it that way?
Yeah, you have to be really, you have to feel like you're not being pushy, but more like you're just excited to help them solve the problem. And
I think it comes back to like being in a position where you know that you are their solution, though, right? Because if you don't think you are, I've told clients, like, categorically, I don't think we're the right provider for you because XYZ. However, I do know such and such who would actually be a better solution for you, right? And I think for me, that really helps in the creative process as well, because once you know what their problem is, you can then strategically think, okay, well, what videos or what video to start with are going to potentially fix this problem, right? Whatever that problem may be, right? Like, is it going to be a podcast? Is it going to be a promotional video? Is it going to be a set of interviews, etc.? Is it going to be like something to build hype and awareness around what you're doing? Can you synergize it in with some other stuff that we mentioned already? But I think for me, as I said initially, I think you've got to be more strategic with how you use video nowadays, because the threshold on creating video has got a lot lower, which means the volume of content is going to be a lot higher by proxy, right? Which is probably why the short form rise has happened, because it's very easy, and the TikToks, Instagram, Facebook of the world are literally creating inbuilt editors for people to create videos.
Yeah, that's a scary thing.
And it's interesting. I get it from a platform point of view. I watched a video yesterday that was basically talking about, and I'd be curious on your opinion on this, on how it could affect our industry. That's why I mention it. Like, they're going to prioritize stuff that's built in phone editors or stuff that's built in app more than us post-producing it like we would do, right? In the respect to taking a shot like this and then post-editing it afterwards. Now, I'm guessing they only know that because you embed it from your calendar, like a camera roll, right? And you don't, and like, I'm not sure how they actually know that it wasn't edited in CapCut, but allegedly that's how the algorithm's changing. I mean, how do you think that's going to affect the industry, right? Because I think it's a massive leveler, right? I think it's a massive equalizer, right? Because otherwise, surely people with professional kit would just clean house short form wise, right? Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a knock on effect to like our, in respect to like professional short form though?
I think it will take a while to really beat us, because I think at the end of the day, people are excited about AI softwares, but they are also understanding that they'd rather have a human do it. They probably, like, an expert will know what's best. And I think there's a way that we can, as editors or as video production producers, we can use those products as the expert sort of using it, because AI is not perfect yet. It's not really better than us. It just saves a little bit of time and sort of supports a bit more creativity for people that want to create video content that are editors. So I think there's a way that we can actually use it, but probably become more video strategists and sell more of a service that way. But I think at the end of the day, people are still going to want to hire an expert to create the content. That doesn't mean that we can't necessarily use those softwares ourselves to be quite efficient and turn over a lot of content to be working on more projects as well.
Absolutely. I think it's, as I said, I think it's going to be an equalizer, and I think it's going to come back to the ideas and the strategic thought process more than we can create you something shiny. But for those who've really enjoyed this conversation and they want to connect with you, they want to see more of your work, they want to have a conversation about maybe working with you, where's best for people to reach out?
You can definitely check out my website. That's where you'll see all my work, at ndhproductions.co.uk, or head over to my Instagram at ndh_productions_.
Magic. And as a final takeaway for someone who's looking to get started in video, they've just got a mobile phone, maybe they've got a microphone, what would you suggest they do?
I would suggest start practicing, start creating content, whether you post it or not. Test and trial different pieces of content. Make sure that you grab people's attention really quickly at the start of a video, whether that is the way that you're speaking or the certain shot that you're showing first. But just go for it. Reach out for help if you need it. But just try it and see what works, what doesn't work. There's no fixed formula for everybody, and there's no way that's going to work. No one's going to tell you what's going to work until you start posting something and seeing what will work.
Thank you for coming back, ladies and gents. I hope you took value from mine and Nikki's conversation. If you did, and you would like to not miss next week's episode of the podcast, make sure to be subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you very, very soon.